members as far as our different delegations from different countries are concerned. Honorable Speaker, going further, Banjul is showing that we are taking the lead. And I go to the member for Banjul Central. I also appreciate your acknowledgement. And this is showing that we are really taking the lead as far as universal health coverage, the attainment of universal health coverage is concerned. Because health is very important and it should be a concern for everybody. And saying that the policy development agenda is indeed very key and very important in what we do as far as our health system is concerned, because we must put on the table a guide that will make us to be able to attain our universal health coverage agendas. And I appreciate your contribution. Honorable Member for Joswang, I also acknowledge your appreciation, and what you said is the fact. The issue of collaboration is very key, because we cannot just say that we are here and we can do it alone. We must collaborate, especially within the parliament. And that is why, if you go through the report, we are working on setting up the first ever TB caucus in parliament, which is going to lead all the TB initiative. So that is going to be a very good move. For your information, Honorable Speaker, very soon the team will be coming to your office to sit with you and talk about the establishment of this TB caucus together with the office of the clerk. So apart from that, Honorable Speaker, I really want to appreciate each and every member that contributed to this debate, and also members that didn't. I also want to appreciate the delegation. And to be honest, Honorable Speaker, I believe this is the best delegation I've ever traveled with outside this country. They were so determined, so hardworking, especially our committee secretary, that is the committee clerk. She was really following up and also making sure that we don't even miss a session during the entire meeting. So this is showing the commitment and also the determination in what we were assigned to do in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. So in that regard also, Honorable Speaker, I will once again want to thank you, like I said during the acknowledgement, for your support and always giving us the opportunity to better represent the country, not only in the Gambia here in the chambers, but even outside the country. So in that regards, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Head of Delegation and Vice Chair of the Health Committee. Let me also congratulate you and thank you for your election as the West Africa Bloc representative on the Executive Committee. And thank all honorable members who contributed and those who supported. Honorable members, I now put the question. Be resolved that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the report on the 16th meeting of the Network of African Parliamentary Committees of Health held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, from the 5th to the 7th of March 2025. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Clerk, may we proceed?
Laying of papers and reports. Report of Select Committee on Tourism, Arts and Culture, Youth and Sport follow-up tour to the selected sporting facilities and cultural sites from on the 3rd to 9 February 2025.
Honorable members, may I now invite the chairperson of the committee to table his report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving us the opportunity, the Committee Tourism, Arts and Culture, Youth and Sport, to table our report. Honorable Speaker, I begin with the acknowledgement. The Select Committee on Tourism, Arts, Culture, Youth and Sport extend its sincere appreciation to the Office of the Speaker, the Office of the Clerk, for the support in making the tour a success. The committee also wishes to express profound appreciation to all officials of the various institutions for the warm reception accorded to the team during the visit. Additionally, the committee appreciates the efforts of ministries of tourism, culture, youth and sport, tour guides, regional sport committees, and all other officials and stakeholders that met during the visit. Finally, the committee wishes to commend the honorable members and support staff for their commitment and dedication throughout the exercise. Honorable Speaker, the list of the members of the committee is indicated or is highlighted on the report, which you can peruse through, and the staffs that embark on the tour is before you. Honorable Speaker, on the introduction, in fulfillment of the committee statutory mandate, and in accordance with Section 109 2B of the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and Order 97(1) and 2B of the revised Standing Order of the National Assembly. The committee is mandated to perform oversights on the institutions under its purview. To this end, the Select Committee on Tourism, Arts, Culture, Youth and Sport embarked on a 7-day follow-up visit to select sports facilities, tourist centers, to get first-hand information on the ground at the facilities and understand the status of the cultural heritage facilities. The tour group comprises the honorable members, the Select Committee, support staff, and other officials from the 2 ministries. Honorable Speaker, the objectives of the tour. The primary goal of the tour was to evaluate whether previous recommendations of the committee have been implemented, assess the current challenges faced by these institutions, and explore possible solutions. Honorable Speaker, just to tell members before wasting much time, because the report is before you, the institutions we visited is all highlighted inside the report. Those are the Fort Bullen, the Barra Eco Lodge, James Island, Kunta Kinte Island, PIA Kerewan NBR, the Gambia Shanghai Initiative, that is GSI, Kerry Stone Circle, Wasu Stone Circle, Mango Park Memorial, Janjambure Youth Center, the Tour Guide Association, GT Board Office, the Mini Stadium, and the Kankuran Center of Janjambure. Wulli West Mini Stadium, Sotuma Eco Lodge, Soma Mini Stadium, Kian West National Park, Buyam Mini Stadium, NYSS Nyani Bere Farm, FIFA Gold Project, Gunjur Mini Stadium, PIA Head Office, Independence Stadium, and the Friendship Hostel. These are the institutions and sites we visited during the tour. Honorable Speaker, it is left to the members to look at the report and peruse through. So we go straight to the general recommendations of the report. Number one, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture should ensure the preservation and protection of cultural structures and heritage sites, to develop more attraction and even to extend the duration of tourist stay, foster partnership with local and international organizations to build networks and share best practices, construct a standard national museum to preserve and showcase cultural heritage, thereby serving both in educational and tourism purpose. Both ministries should strengthen collaboration with universities and vocational institutions to recruit and provide hand-on training opportunities for the youth. Increase government subsidies and financial incentives for agricultural and tourism projects for the youth. The Minister of Tourism should intensify marketing, promote, and develop unique tourism packages and collaborate with tour operators to attract more tourists. Prioritize the renovation and maintenance of guest accommodations and staff housing to enhance comfort and safety. Going forward, the Ministry of Youth and Sport should ensure that the perimeter fence of all football ministerials should be standardized. The Minister of Youth and Sport should regularize the land ownership of GSI. It is still hanging. The Minister of Tourism should ensure that construction of the ecologies are completed by June 2026. Honorable Speaker, looking at going straight to the conclusions of the report, the National Assembly Select Committee on Tourism, Arts, Culture, Youth and Sport conducted oversight visits to assess the status of tourism, culture, heritage sites, and as well sporting facilities. The committee identified challenges including poor communications among officials, stalled development projects such as the Barra Eco Lodge, and construction of the ferry terminal near the Fort Blaine heritage sites. The issues highlighted includes gaps in project management, legal compliance, and the lack of stakeholder engagement. The committee emphasized the need to protect cultural heritage, ensure timely completion of tourism and sporting infrastructure projects, and involve local communities in decision-making. Moving forward, the committee will engage relevant ministries, agencies, and stakeholders to address these challenges, promote sustainable development, and enhance service delivery in the tourism, culture, youth, and sport sector. Honorable Speaker, with this, I present to honorable members to look at and press through for their kind approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the committee. Honorable members, any seconder? Honorable member for Bundugakunda.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the chair of the committee for this wonderful report. Basically, this report consists of two areas, that is the sports and the tourism aspect. So on the side of the tourism, I am very, very particular about that, especially these ecologies, because I think if we want to promote our tourism sector, it doesn't mean we just have to focus on the international tourists, but the local tourists, and we need to at least do something so that at least we can promote local tourism, wherein somebody who is living in Serekunda here or Banyun can travel to Basse and have a place to stay, and also to be able to go and see new things. That's the purpose of tourism. So which is very important, because these ecologies, I think the ministry need to do more to be able to fast track, because I could remember since I was a councillor, I was the chair of the tourism committee. So it was when they, initiated this ecologies. This was during the time of the APRC regime, but still now it's still working on. So I think I saw in the report that by 2026 it will be finished, because some people, some tourists, they prefer going to ecologies. They want to live within a community in such a facility. So on that note also, I think the ministry also need to work on to ensure that every region, they identify tourism site, and not to stop in that, but also to improve our, tourist site, to improve and develop other sites wherein if you go as a local tourist or international tourist, you'll be able to know where to go. Because just to give you an example, last year, I decided to go countrywide for tourism. So, but there are certain areas where I was going through Google, but I was having, misinformation, because crocodile pool, I saw it in Farafenye, but when I asked, there is nothing. So I think the tourism, the ministry need to, factor all these things, wherein when you type, you can be able to know and you have your direction to go there. So equally also on the side of the sporting aspect, I understand there are so many mini stadiums that are currently going on, but I just want the ministry through this report to ensure that football, yes, is is very popular as far as Gambians are concerned. But who are the people involved in sporting in this football are youth. So the same youths are also into other sporting disciplines like martial art, basket, volleyball. So I think if they are constructing such facilities, they should start thinking around to ensure that at least we have a place for martial art. Because when we talk about martial art, we have so many components: judo, karate, and others, boxing. So I think these are things that are very important. So, but definitely, with this, your trip, I think is a very good one. And we encourage you to at least pursue so that, all these mini stadiums are done. And at the same time, they create some kind of, especially when they are doing mini stadiums now, to at least factor some of this basketball court, volleyball, even handball, because sometimes it's always a problem. And it's high time also for the committee to start, scoping communities, because right now we are having issues with fields. Like in Bundung, we don't have a community field, it's only one, that is Jola Kunda. But apart from that, you have schools, school field. And most of these boys, they normally go there during classes. So right now it's giving us problem for them to be able to, use the field during, learning period. So on that note, I think together we will be able to achieve something. And thank you very much for the reports. And Honorable Speaker, I move that I second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Bundung. Honorable members, I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the Select Committee on Tourism, Arts, Culture, Youth and Sports follow up to selected sporting facilities and cultural sites from the 3rd to the 9th of February 2025. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Any honorable member who may want to take part in the debate may do so by raising your tag to be listed. I now call on the honorable member for Sami.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Thank you very much. This is the the report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Tourism, Arts, Culture, Youths, and Sports on the visits to some sporting facilities and cultural sites. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee members, the support staffs, and all the officials that were with them. Honorable Speaker, I just want to look at the ecologists. Honorable Speaker, I want to go straight to Mungo Park. Honorable Speaker, you know, most of these ecologists, there are projects that should be in those ecologies. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at Monka Park, since 2022, this contract was started. Since 2022, April, 29th of April, it was started. So my advice to the committees, if you are visiting centers where there are projects, you should try and go with the project, the contact agreement for the rehabilitation of those sites. Because that's going to help you a lot, what that project should contain, what should be in that project, and what should not be in that project. So if you go to the site, that's where you should look at. To say yes, because you are there with the officials. If you have that documents with you, if you don't see those things there, you can question them. Why? Since 2022, how many years now? And these ecologists, if they are completed, Honorable Speaker, we all know is going to create employment for those communities around. Honorable Speaker, if you look at their report, and also I have the project, the contact agreement with me, what is should there and what is should not be there. And they also highlighted some. If you look at the work consists of, yes, the fence is completed. But go there still now, and they are just from there, February. As they put it, the toilets are not completed. The security side are not completed. Honorable Speaker, there is one thing that I don't see in the report is the borehole. They should drill borehole there. There should be a borehole in that side. And that is not indicated. Honorable Speaker, one thing also that should be the installation of solar system. That one also should be in that project, and it is not there. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at the project amount, it's about $4,039,844, 60 bottles. And this was given to a contractor called Turekunda Construction Company. But I look at your recommendation. You stated that by June 2026, all ecologists should be completed. Yes, but you should start, towards consulting, frequent consulting with the ministry before the date. What should be done? Why is this 4 million? You should ask them how much they have spent. Because since 2022 up to date, nothing is done. But I have to thank you very much for taking the opportunity to go up to that side to look at what is happening in that side. So I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sami. Honorable members, I have a long list, and it will look like most members want to contribute, and we want to open it up to make sure that all those listed participate. So please, if you can time, we don't want to time people. If you can make a summary of what you want to say, to give other members opportunities to come on board, please. At least you can take 3-4 minutes or so. I now invite the honorable member for Brikama South.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I assure you I will stick to your advice by minimizing my intervention. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for this particular tour to unearth certain issues confronting both the tourism and the youth sector of the country through the able chairperson who presented the report before us. Honorable Speaker, going straight to the recommendations. I want to look at the first recommendation where they made mention of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture should ensure the preservation and protection of cultural structures and heritage sites. I think this is very, very important. But what I'm thinking, if you can improve upon it, not only the preservation and protection, but to improve the condition, to make it a modern structure that will attract more tourists. It's important not to leave it in that type of dilapidated conditions, but we need to protect this heritage site. They are extremely very important. So in as much as we protect them, we also need to improve upon, because people all over the world are searching and they want to visit those areas, but it should attract them. That's why we need the improvement component. And the other area I want to talk about, that is the third to last recommendation. Going forward, the Ministry of Youth and Sports should ensure that the perimeter fence of all the football fields are standardized. I think this is very important, and it's a very important recommendation, because without the perimeter fence, it's going to be difficult to conduct footballs in our community. We know generally footballs are very tempting, and people fight seriously to make sure that they win. And without a proper perimeter fence, you cannot attract a career referees. They cannot risk their life going to your place without a perimeter fence. Because anytime a referee decides, the decision will be in a favor of the other. So the opponent will try to attack the referee. So they need to be protected. So the perimeter fence play a key role in maintaining peace and order in football. Not only the referees alone, but even the match inspector. The referee inspectors sits in the perimeter fence. The match commissioners. So they need to be protected. If they are not protected, there is going to be violence. And sometimes this creates a lot of injuries when it is violence. The other one, I'm looking at the last one, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture should ensure that construction of ecologies are completed by June 2020. I think you need to improve these recommendations and make them a resolutions. Put time bound to these recommendations where possible and see how are these things implemented to the latter. I think Mayor recommending sometimes without timeline, it creates some problems. If they can be transformed into a resolution, because this is long overdue when you come to these ecologies. So you must come with a specific timeline as alluded by the Karantaba man from Sami, to be constantly monitoring and make sure that within this stipulated time, these things are implemented. So on that note, Honorable Speaker, as I promised, I want to buy time. I want to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama South. You are definitely a wonderful gentleman. I now invite the Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabiji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Actually, I wanted to benefit from the second the motion so that I can speak, because I have a lot of intervention areas, but I was denied by the table office to do so. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, table office cannot comment here. Who denied you?
I said I raised my
Yes, you said you were denied.
Yes.
You cannot allege. That's an allegation. You
No,
cannot
I
prove.
understand. He saw me and decided
He
to
saw you and he saw some others.
Okay, but it's okay. Yeah.
You don't allege against somebody.
Okay, thank you
Nothing.
very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor.
Okay.
And I thank the chairperson for Youth, Sports and Tourism Committee for this precise and wonderful report. Honorable Speaker, starting from Fort Bullen, if we look at history, Fort Bullen was constructed or built by the British since 1826. So by way of that, it becomes a very important historical site, or it has a lot of historical significance. Added onto that, it's also a symbol of military and colonial resistance. But Honorable Speaker, when you go to Fort Bullen today, you feel it is not serving that historical significance that Gambians should see as far as Fort Bullen is concerned. I think if you go to other countries, what you realize, they improve their colonial or their cultural heritage sites. You don't need to maintain as it is. You can always improve it. And by way of that, that's going to attract a lot of tourists into this country. But unfortunately, we are not seeing that as far as Fort Bullen is concerned. Honorable Speaker, if you also move in the report page, page 19, where they made recommendation, construction of standard museum for the community to better preserve and showcase their cultural heritage, to remove all the trees that are undermining the building structure at the scene. This is going to take me to what I have just said. Museums, if you go to national museums today, you see nothing from 1964 to 1994 to now. And even especially, what is so disturbing, even the statue of former President Yahya Jammeh that was removed from the arch, that should have been in the National Museum by now, but nobody knows where it is. Yes, we accused Jammeh of being a dictator, and that was confirmed during the testimony, the Soro testimony at TRRC. But what do we have to sort of Gambians that are coming in the next generation? So some of these things to be kept in the National Museum is very, very important. Honorable Speaker, moving down to the report again, youth and sports, Piam Mini Stadium, where the committee said poor constructed perimeter fence, which is often tempered by fans, resulting in some areas being damaged. The biggest problem for Ministry of Youth and Sport in this country is contract management and administration. And you cannot manage your contracts well if you fail to award your contract to the right contractor. You cannot award the contract to the right contractor if your bidding process is not transparent. The bidding process will not be transparent if your request for proposals is not very clear. So I think the Ministry of Youth and Sports should definitely improve on their contract management and administration. And I once said it here, is the only ministry that has a very bad record of contract management and administration. The scope of your contract should be very clear. If the scope of your contract is not very clear, your contractors are not going to perform. Honorable Speaker, going down to page 32, the second phase where the committee said, the second phase of the renovation focuses on the pitch with plans to contract an expert from Senegal or Morocco to help bring the pitch up to CAF standard. Simple pitch standard. We have to go for experts in Morocco and Senegal. This is very unfortunate as a country that earned our independence since 1965. Only to improve our pitch, we have to go for experts. We have to outsource that to experts in another country. This is not a very proud sentence. This is not a very proud news to Gambians. So we have, I think the Minister of Youth and Sports should be able to capacitate people. They are the ones responsible for sports. As low as a key competence, as low as stadium pitch expert, you go for that in Senegal and Morocco. Honorable Speaker, this is very disturbing and this is not a very good news. Honorable Speaker, going to page 33, where the committee mentioned during meeting with the MOS, the committee was informed that the ministry has decided to lease the hostel to a private investor through public-private partners, PPP. I think the ministry or the government should be very careful of all these private partnerships. Asset recycling at our only bridge, you go to port concession. I'm not saying that they are bad, but the government cannot be doing this on and on and on. At one point, government can take ownership of this hostel, improve it before giving that to another private investment. The government should be very careful of that. Honorable Speaker, my last intervention, page 34, where the committee said, bullet point 4, construct a standard museum to preserve and showcase cultural heritage, thereby serving both educational and tourism purpose. That's going to take me back to what I said about the museums. Another bullet point where the committee said, going forward, the ministry should ensure that the perimeter fence of all their football fields are standardized. That is also taking me to what I said. The scope of their work should always be very clear. Another bullet point where the ministry said, where the committee said the ministry should regularize the land ownership of GSL. Land ownership. Honorable Speaker, 80% of litigations in this country are land issues. And I think it is high time government to make sure that all the ownerships of their land are documented, because otherwise we never know. In the next few years to come, people can challenge ownership of this land, and that's only going to create some controversy around land ownership, which is owned by government. Another bullet point where the committee said the ministry should ensure that the construction of ecologies are completed by June 2026. This is so disturbing. Eco-lodge, I remember the recommendation on this eco-lodge is as old as this parliament. Since we came to this parliament, every report that comes here, eco-lodge. And I remember there was a very progressive report and a very progressive recommendation where the contractor was going to be held liable for fair misconduct and some of the key participants as far as the award evaluation of the contract is concerned. So why are we bringing the same recommendation to the National Assembly? Why can't we do something about that recommendation that we approve in the floor of this parliament? We say people should be held accountable. We even recommend the criminal liability for some people. Again, the committee is bringing the same report to us and for me advising the minister. You didn't do a recommendation here. Why advising the minister again? So when we say we have a weak parliament, some don't like it, but we are shown to the people the parliament is not strong. What was our recommendations? We recommended the contractor, all the key participants in the evaluation process to be held liable. We are bringing another report again to say we advise the military. What is that? We cannot do that. Let's make sure that recommendation that was approved in the floor of this parliament is implemented. That is what is going to make us weak. That's what is going to make us a strong parliament in the eyes of Gambia. Honorable Speaker, for that being said, this brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Latrikunda. But you are not qualified for my that word to the Honorable Member for. You have taken almost 9 minutes of our time, giving us less time to other honorable members who are on the list. Honorable Member for Joshua.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I also join Michael to thank the chair of the committee and his team on their report. Honorable Speaker, I'll first start with the ecologists, with their recommendation on number, almost the last one, at the timeline for the completion of the ecologists. I have a question to the chair. Was there any time that you discussed or meet with the contractor to know what is the contractual period? Because before you give a timeline, you must know their contractual period. What time should it end? And number two, are they awarded to new contractors, or are they maintaining the same contractors with the same timeline that was during their hour? Honorable Speaker,
I think issue of these ecologists is coming to be an issue that we should end now. For more than 3-4 years now, these contracts are still going on. And one of my colleagues has just mentioned that we have been preparing reports and then giving our recommendations. You award somebody a contract based on A, B, C, and D. The guy produced documents to authenticate the award. And those attached documents are what? Certificate of what? Completion and performance bond. Performance bonds mean what? Your performance when you are executing the contract. If you are performing, those bonds should be recalled. And by doing so, it means something. But you cannot award somebody a contract based on performance bond, advance payment bonds. Those bonds are still there, and yes, still now you are still negotiating. I think, Mr. Chair, you need to look at things properly and come up with a very good report that will definitely protect these ecologists. Because they cannot be there, be serving this period, and at the end of the day, there will be no completion. Yes, you give them a timeline, but will they adhere to it? Will they even to meet? Or is it a new contract? We need to know. Honorable Speaker, coming to our heritages, I think it's important for years now, since I was going to school, when you go to Abuko, you see the same thing. When you visit Abuko, you visit the crocodile pool, you see the same thing. What do we need to do to initiate new things? Is that a thing in mind? Sit with the minister and let's start to create. And when people come in here as stories, they will see different things, but not seeing the face of Sir all the time, or seeing the same face at Bakal all the time, or Fort Blend. Can you come can they come with ideas? It is the world is moving now. Gambia is, we have seen a lot of heritage in this country. When it comes to tribe, when it comes to other lines, we've seen it. Let's see what we can do to make sure that when they come here, they will see that they see a different thing to attract others to come over. So on that note, Chair, Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Joshua. Thank you very much. I now invite the Honorable Member for Nyanija.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the floor. I also want to take part in this very important report, which is ably presented by the Honorable Chair of this very important committee. I want to thank them for touring the entire length and breadth of the country, visiting both cultural site and sporting facilities. Well, Honorable Speaker, I just want to remind this August Assembly about the remit of committees, of all committees. That is Standing Order 97. Committees are established to examine such matters. With your permission, I may read. Within its remits, as it may determine appropriate or may be referred to it by the Assembly, and the text continues. And of course, the subclause 2A, whereas the activities or administration of ministries, departments, or agencies of the government and such investigation may extend to making proposals for legislation. Honorable Speaker, the issue of this ecologies, this cultural side, I think this committee should do us a favor and definitely help us, because it is true, these ecologies were under construction. But according to their report, you see some of them still now, the stage at which they are still at that same stage still. And in fact, what is already constructed there is deteriorating. So I don't know where are we in that regard. The committee should help us come up with something. Even if they are not going to be completed, what is already there, let us protect it and see where we can get resources and complete. But we can't just waste monies like that. So, Honorable Speaker, moving on to James Island, I think we also need to do special attention here, because if you looked at it, it seems like the island is seriously getting reduced by erosion, according to what they said, and something needs to be done here. Even if you don't have the muscles to protect it, UNESCO is there because it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site that is identified. I think something should be done here. I just want to lay my concerns on these things. So, Honorable Speaker, and then moving on to Kerbach Stone Staple. And if you read your permission, I may read. In the text, the site also lacks perimeter fence for security purpose. I don't know what you mean by perimeter fence. As far as I know, Kerbach is fence. It is fenced. I don't know what perimeter fence are you talking about here. It is fenced and it is having a door. There is water there. there are rooms for some other things there. But I don't know what you mean. Yeah, probably maybe the chair can help us, enlighten us better. And then, of course, you mentioned about last visit. Some of the recommendations you made there were not addressed. What were these recommendations? I would definitely love to know some of these recommendations, and then in my own capacity as a representative of that area, I can also do some follow-up and see, because I know it is a very important site as far as culture in the Gambia is concerned. So, Honorable Speaker, moving on, I just want to throw my weight behind the member for Summit, the issue of Mongo Park, a project that started since 2021 or 2022. Still now we are struggling with it. I think the committee should definitely beef up more, engage the ministry more. Maybe it is lack of resources or something with issue of contract, but probe into the issue more so that we can see results. We can be doing contract that's supposed to be for 2 years or 1 year, we extend it to 5 years or so. If that is so, it has to be based on something that is very, very genuine and very substantial, like financial issues or other issues. But not actually when the money is there and then nothing can be done. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to ask also the committee, what is the use of this Janjambure tour guide? Because I was looking at the text, he said, when, like the lady they met there, she explained that tour guides that usually escort tourists to the center normally do not hand over tourists to them. What is the use of these people who are locally based there, who are employed there? You come all the way with your tourists, you don't want to hand over this, because they are the ones who are stationed there. If you come, they should be the one to lead you. What is the use of them if you have these tourists, maybe let's say white people come with somebody, you don't want to answer, I don't know. So, but I think the committee used to do as everyone explain these things. So if you don't need them there, then we see what we can do. But they are the ones stationed there, they're employed there, and anybody who come there, like if you come to the National Assembly, somebody have to lead you here. Not you come from anywhere, you lead people here. So, Honorable Speaker, I think that's what I have on the sporting facilities, mini stadiums. Anyway, I think this committee needs to do more, in my own opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nyanija. I now invite the Honorable Member for Woolly East.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I thank the committee for a very good report. They've done a lot of effort to give us all this information. And I want to adopt what the Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabiji has said about the ecologists. The previous report on the petition is still with the government, and we expect them to come on the 8th of July to give us an update. I think from there we will pick it up. Honorable Speaker, I just want to discuss one area, which is the Janjambure mini stadium. The report there kind of baffled me. This is an initiative of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. It's their initiative. And the ministry provided $200,500 for the project, initial disbursement. But I see 200,000. And what do they want to do with the 200,000? Build playing field, construct shades, build seats. You're laughing, huh? The issue of grass also come into the fore, tough perimeter fence. All this, and it's 200. That is 200,000. Before I get to, Parato, I finished the 200. So I don't know how, it looks too small. So I really don't see that's an adjustment. It looks like it's not very serious when you look at it. And there is the issue of lack of pavilion, sitting arrangement capacity is also in the fore, etc. So it looks like we have to take the issue of rural sports very seriously, because there is a lot of talent. There is a lot of talent in the provinces. And unless we harness the talent in the other part of the country, we will not be able to progress in sports the way we want to progress. We cannot neglect them. We say development is inclusive. So if it is inclusive, we have to, when we do things in the provinces also, There should be standard. There should be standard. So my recommendation would be for the committee to actually sit down with with the minister and discuss very seriously about the next budget, because I think it all boils down to budgeting. If you call the minister here, he will tell you, you know, our youth budget is very small, and we all know it is small. So we need to engage them, to ensure that the next budget, at least we augment their budget so that they'll be able to do certain things. But to give 200,000 to people one phase, another 200, what is 200,000? So things will be slow, and the slower they are, the more expensive it becomes. The slower they are, the more expensive. Because if you give me 200, it's finished, I sit down and then I go and do other things, then you come and give me another 200, it takes me another 2 years. So things will continue and continue, and the youth will continue to complain. So, Honorable Speaker, I think that's what my contribution. Thank you very much for this time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woolley. It's highly commendable. I now invite the Honorable Member for Banjul Central.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would like to commend the committee for doing a very great job in making these very up findings and recommendations. However, I just have a few observations, sort of questions that hopefully the the chair of the committee can help. I will be specific to the ecologists, starting with the one Bara. So here it's saying that it's among the 5 initiatives that were part of the ecologists to be developed. However, I'm curious as to if the committee, asks questions when it comes to, plans for funding mechanisms. As it said here that it has been left unfinished for over 4 years with a project that should have lasted just 2 years, basically. And also if there were any environment impact assessments done after it was left to be dilapidated. I think this should have been part of the questions that the committee should have asked when it comes to this matter. So then we move to 21. That is page 21. Yeah, when it comes to the Satuma Eco Lodge, here it's really a cause of concern because it's saying here that circumstances surrounding the fire incident remain unclear. And at the time of the fire incident, the site had not been formally handed over to the GT contractor. So here, I think the visit was in February. So my question would be, because it says here that a report should have been handed over. So from February till now, I don't see the reason why it's taking so long to get the report. I think in between we should have had the report, whereby it should have been even attached with this and also help the committee in their recommendation. Because we do not know if safety standards were met when it comes to the construction as to what led to the fire. We don't know if there have been any fire prevention protocols prior to. Also, whether it was sabotage or negligence, procedural lapses, we do not know. And also, when it happened, what immediate steps did they take to mitigate the incident? I don't know if the committee were able to come up with these questions because they are very apt. And also, what estimated financial losses were incurred when it comes to this. So I don't see it in part of the recommendations. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Banjul Central. And I invite the Honorable Member for Banjul South.
I withdraw. Thank you.
Withdrawn. Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Banjul South. And I invite the Honorable Member for Bikama North and Minority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the mover, the chair of the committee, we thank him for ably presenting or laying the report. the Honorable Mover could not have the time to get us through on some of the issues, then as a committee member, then we can comment on some of those points. Well, concern on the ecologies, I think this report should serve to echo the resolution from the petition committee surrounding the circumstances of the ecologies. We went and we found and confirmed the dilapidating nature of the delayed work. Now we are not talking about the delayed work. Even the works that were done or incomplete are in that situation of dilapidating. So therefore, this report should serve as a voice to the resolution for the implementation on the position of the National Assembly on those ecologies. And for Bullen, concern is raised in the report regarding the encroachment as a result of the construction of the ferry terminal. Fort Bullen World Heritage Site and a gazetted area is encroached. That circumstance also should be looked into. That is not spelled out in our recommendation. I believe that is a circumstance, that's a concern, and it should be looked into. Why the encroachment of that heritage site, a gazetted site? If it is gazetted or supposed to be gazetted legally before the encroachment, did that happen? And the other concern is the Sotuma, as alluded by the Banjul Central. The work was almost nearly in completion to be handed over. A tragic fire came from nowhere, burned down the entire ecologies, about 12 huts inside, tragically. And yes, what happened? There was investigation. The outcome of that investigation is what the committee requested. But that is not form part of our recommendation, that we still need that report. And it's that report that is going to inform us the circumstance surrounding the burning of that eco lodge. If it's not available, we still demand that report has to be available. Now, it is not only about the work of the police, but the National Assembly. We cannot determine the appropriate body that's supposed to do the investigation is the one that's supposed to do. And we were told there was investigation, but we want the report of that investigation. That is the position of the National Assembly. And then finally, Honorable Speaker, NYSS, Nyani Bere Farm. This place used to be a production area and also a training area for young people from NYSS. Now those production and training are virtually going down. That is the area where we can create the youth to be trained in agriculture, to diversify agriculture, and to enable the young people to acquire self-employment. That started well in the second regime. It was a vibrant project. But now go there, everything has gone down. We cannot start good thing all of a sudden allow it to be abandoned. That project needs to be revived and give that support, because this is what we need to enable our young people to be skilled and also to be self-reliant. If we have those kind of things, in our country and we allow them to die down. What are we encouraging? The youth not to be skilled, and at the end, where do they go? In search of greener pasture, a pasture that they can never found. I think this is an area where both agriculture and the Ministry of Youth and Sports should be investing to make it still more vibrant than before. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader. Honorable members, I sincerely want to believe that Parliament cannot make complaints. Parliament, we should be able to act and do do the needful. Parliamentary committee chairpersons should make sure that they follow up on their recommendations, implementation of their recommendations, and give periodic feedbacks for the plenary. Using the office of the clerk, we can do a lot of other things in consultation with the ministries. So let's find out mechanisms and see how best we can improve on our oversight functions. The office of the clerk and my office will be there to assist in any way possible. And let me, before I call on the mover of the motion to respond to the issues and wind up the debate, I want to thank him, honestly, for his brilliant summary of the report. If you look at the report, it's bulky, but he made a brilliant summary. I want to thank him very much. I now call upon the mover to respond to the issues raised and wind up the debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And also, I have to thank honorable members with their sincere opinion, especially on the recommendations which we highlighted. For Bunduga Kunda, the concerns he highlighted was about the ecologists and local tourists, national parks to be utilized very well. I think that was also part of our objective in order to rebrand some of the tourist facilities and also the products, so that at least, because we have seen our neighboring country here, Senegal, and other countries, is applicable there and it is working very well. It's not only depending on the foreign tourists in order to earn revenue, but we can also rebrand the sites and also the products in order to attract our nationals also to benefit in a situation whereby they can have their excursions and whatever. Because it all boils down to the pricing and other products which they need to highlight, because the pricing also is important. At least it should be affordable to the nationals. So which is also under consideration to the committee. The other one, you said every region to identify tourist sites for exploration. I think it is important because I believe all these regions, they have their cultural areas where they believe at least it can be explored and at least it can be also rebranded, so that at least the tourism can make use of those areas. Because every region have a culture, they have a tradition, and they have other historical areas which they can at least make use of in order to add revenue for the community. For the digitalization, and I also in line with you, at least because you said you went on the internet and you saw Crocodile Island around, is it NBR, I don't know, whilst it is in Bakau. I think whatever they are doing, and if it is about visibility, it should be accurate. The information should be accurate, so that at least if there's a crocodile in Bakau, you should be finding in Bakau. You can even, if you Google it, it will give you the direction where you can find it. I think it's important. We will also take note for the digitalization of tourism sites and products. For all sports inclusive, it is important. If you look at the ministry, the act, the sport committees is not only football. You can see it's diverse. It's covering all sport associations, martial art, basketball, volleyball, and so on. So your recommendations, I think it will be considered because, like for instance, if the ministries are constructing these mini stadiums, they should also try to consider some of the sporting facilities to be incorporated in those areas, so that this will give the opportunity at the young ones to decide which type of sports they want to use, but not to confine them on one side of sports. Thank you so much for that also consideration. For Same, the Mango Park. Yes, it is true, the Mango Park is long overdue, but looking at the 2 years ago when we went there and we highlighted some of the lapses and the gaps where when the contract was signed, and when we returned back, we find at least, because the fence was not completed, we found out the fence is completed, the toilets, the security room also was completed, the toilets which is under construction, and the borehole was not there. So it's part of our concerns also to challenge the ministry to make sure this project sites are all clauses are all met at the right time. Though they have failed the time bound, which we even cautioned them, but they said it was due to the financial dealings. But they also have made conditions to the contract to make sure everything is being completed in time, because they have to make value for money. For Brikama South, to improve on the tourist facilities, appropriate on the recommendation of the perimeter fence. We have looked into the perimeter fence, because the one that the ministry construct is not durable, and you know football is too emotional. So at times when there are certain situations when the fans, you cannot control some of the fans, because you have hooligan fans, you have at least official fans. So if you can only control at times on the official fans, not on the hooligan fans. So that's why we compared the two perimeter fence. That's the one GFF is constructing, and also the one ministry is constructing. But our recommendation should be standardized like the one GFF is constructing, because those ones are durable, and at least it will protect the athletes inside within the field and the officials. So it's important. We also have taken note to make sure at least that type of fence is being used, because we don't want where you spend money and they're not seeing the importance of that money. It is not also, it doesn't have a lifespan. To improve on the tourist facilities, other speakers have already mentioned, and also it's also a concern, you know, to improve on the tourist facilities. That is the rebranding. So that's our standpoint when it comes to the committee, to Minister of Tourism and also GT board, because like the tourists cannot be coming for decades or 10, 15 years. Every now and then when they come, they always see one product, or one facility. So at times it doesn't worth it for them to save money to come to the Gambia. So that's why we said it's important for them to rebrand, at least upgrade the facilities in order to attract more tourists, and even to make them stay longer. Because if they don't have sites to visit, they don't have anything to attract them. They will not decide even to spend long in the Gambia. So those are important in order to attract them, or even to influence them for them to stay longer, at least. For Latikunda, still on Brikama South, on the recommendation of the completion of the ecologies. You know, what we looked at, like for instance, the one for Sotuma was almost completed. But unfortunately, when that fire outbreak came, it destroyed everything. So, but again, that doesn't stop there, because money was spent and it cannot be left like that. So that's why we are putting a time bound. The time bound, that is at least by June, because it's conditional. By June, all these ecologies should be completed and be in use. So we are working towards this, and if the assembly or the plenary approve this, we are going to put it to the tourism board and the ministry to make sure all ecologies should be completed by June 2026, at least a 1 year grace period. And in fact, they even inform us they have already looked for contractor, and they are working on in order to start the project, or so that they can complete the ecologies. But we have to at least make an ultimatum to them so that at least they can meet up with the time. Latrikunda, to improve the Fort Blend tourist sites is the same. It's a reputation which is also a concern to the committee, and also we have put it to the tourism, Ministry of Tourism and also GT board, and even NCAC, because for Fort Blend is under the NCAC. Because when we went there, in fact, what they were doing, they were trying to change the artifacts, and which the UNESCO was against it. At least they should not change the artifacts, whereby it will defeat the purpose of the heritage site. On the cultural museum, well, what we have seen, the cultural museum in Banjul here, we can say it's not national, because some of the other regions, they have their cultural artifacts, but if you come to the museum, you cannot find it there. And what they need to do is to look for a land whereby they will construct a bigger one where everything is inclusive. And that is part of our recommendation with NCAC. On the contracting status, which Honorable Latrikunda highlighted, I think it's also important, because in fact this is not affecting only the tourists, like a Minister of Tourism. It's cross-cutting to other ministries, because we make some leniencies, and we don't consider some of the clauses that will protect the beneficiaries. Because at times we look at it, we Gambianize it, we give you the contract without putting some stringent measures or clauses, whereby when you default those clauses, the law will found you wanting, and you have to be liable for those damages or those failures. But here, I think the government have taken its stand, because some of the ministries don't have the expertise in order to monitor these projects. So that's why now government have diverted most of these major projects to be supervised and monitored by Minister of Works under the GAWOS. So I think with this will address some of the lapses which was happening in the ministries, where ministries will directly award contracts to individuals or companies without having the technical expertise in order to supervise or monitor these projects. For the Independence Stadium, he highlighted why the ministry is giving out the contracts to foreigners. If you look at the issue here, it's not about our wish, because when the CAF FIFA came, the problem was for the pitch, and we don't have that expertise here. So that's why within a short notice they need to look for the expertise, and the closest for them to reach out was Senegal, where they can hire the expertise to come and work on the pitch, and so that at least we will be qualified to use our stadium. And again, for training capacities, yes, it's a good recommendation, so that at least when there are such needs, we will just look inwards in order to at least have these services been delivered. Yeah. Joshua. He also talked about the contracting aspect of it, which I think it was a general gap on ministries. But I think the government have taken step in it in order to at least now divert all address the contracting projects to Minister of Works and also GAWOS to oversee. So that will address all the gaps you highlighted.